to you, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you so much for joining us in this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. Tonight, the Ministry of Secondary Education in the country introduces new mode for the payment of examination fees across the national territory. It would now be done via a microfinance institution or a mobile telephone company. A deal to that effect was signed in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, today. We tell you more on that in this edition of the news. Also ahead, the people of Bamenda say that the Anglophone crisis is beyond the Bilingualism Commission to handle. They were speaking during a meeting that was chaired by Peter Mafani Musonge and other members of the Bilingualism Commission that ended in the northwest region of the country today. Those are headlines. We shall be right back with the details. Stay with us. Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you so much once again for joining us in this edition of the 6 p.m. Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. The Secondary Education Minister, as we announced earlier in Cameroon, puts an end to physical payment of examination fees in the secondary education sector across the national territory. The fees, or the payment of the fees, especially as far as examination fees are concerned, would hence be deposited in microfinance institutions or mobile telephone companies in the country. The government signed 2 memorandums to that effect today in the nation's capital. The deal was signed with the microfinance or 2 microfinance houses and 2 mobile telephone companies in Cameroon. It is in a bid to fight against fraud and save time. Let's now have an excerpt of the Minister of Secondary Education, Professor Nalova Lyonga, or rather, Dr. Nalova Lyonga was speaking to a reporter in Yaoundé, Marcel Nganso.
It's very important because we have several instances of money that is lost. 50 million, 40 million, it's a lot of money. And I think that parents are doing their best to get this money. And therefore the money has to be secure. And what we have done is look for a system that can trace and so that their money can be safe and the school can have it. This is an innovation in clean schools, and clean schools means clean morally and clean by infrastructure physically. That's why we have it. And we think that the teachers should give more time to teaching and not to be accountable for money. It's not necessary. There are people who are trained to do that, and they are trained to teach. And Cameroonian children are very intelligent children, very thirsty for learning. Let us give them what they want. And I think the head of state knows very well that his children are very thirsty. They want to be educated. So let us do what we have been trained to do and leave the money companies to do what they also have been trained to do. That's the idea.
That is Dr. Nalova Lyonga there speaking to our reporters in Yaoundé on the sidelines of the meeting that took place in Yaoundé today. Now, Bamenda residents have told members of the Bilingualism Commission that the Anglophone crisis is no longer at their level. They told Peter Mafani Musonge and his team that was yesterday that the head of state should initiate the much talked about dialogue, and that it can only hold after all those that have so far been arrested in connection with the current socio-political crisis in Cameroon are so far released. It was during the Listen to the People mission to the northwest region of the country. Details in this report. It is not the first time that the 16-month-old Bilingualism Commission, created by the government to seek solutions to the Anglophone crisis, is visiting the English-speaking part of Cameroon to collect proposals on the way forward. During this session of the Listen to the People mission, the Peter Mafani Musonge-led commission was reminded that there is nothing to be discussed in the gathering that has not been raised before.
If you have come here, you have not come here to say that how do we stop the war. You have come here to represent the common man's interests, because you know how to stop this war. We are just repeating what has been said over time since this whole thing began.
The Bilingualism Commission was told that it has never been the intention of the English-speaking population to tear the country apart, and that only officials of the regime themselves have thrown patriotism into the dustbin.
No Nobody wishes to tear the nation apart, but leaders should sit up and take patriotism as their watchword. The rate and magnitude of embezzlement of public funds is alarming, which portrays either a sense of insecurity or outright recklessness and impunity.
The people took time to present some of their problems to the Bilingualism Commission.
You, the commission, where does the common man belong? The common man does not have guns. The common man cannot go up to their way to speak to the head of state. The common man is helpless. The common man is suffering. The common man does not know what to do.
For 9 years, we have Prime Minister Yang Philemon from the Northwest region, and it's unheard of that he's president of Kona Road, and the road to his division, Kumbu, is not that. It is really unheard of, because in the West region of Cameroon, there are 8 divisions in the West region, and all the roads are intercar. So why should we have Prime Minister, head of government in the Northwest, and our roads are not tar?
Mama Muna, I'm happy to see you, Mom. You are a mother. You were given the title of Chulumo in Babylon. What are you doing for these children that you are their mother? Talk to those our uncles, brothers, fathers, grandfathers. If you meet the head of state, tell him that his duty, his wives, sisters, children in the Northwest and the Southwest are languishing and are crying.
Participants at the session of the Listen to the People mission said that dialogue is possible, but on condition that all those arrested in connection with the crisis are freed, curfew uplifted, and that it should include Anglophone Cameroonians in the diaspora.
Who are the members to be seated on the round table for this dialogue? As a woman, I plead to the head of state of this country to call this dialogue as soon as possible.
The government should be sincere enough to release those locked up with a very big apology to affected Anglophones. All those arrested as a result of this crisis should either be pardoned or amnesty. The head of state should make an apologetic speech to the nation with a reconciliatory undertone.
Peter Mafani Musonge and his team left the Presbyterian Church Hall in Bamenda, promising to channel the proposals to the right headquarters.
To help our country come out of the crisis situation. And we took all of them because they came from the bottom of the hearts of the people, and we're going to submit them to higher.
And the Social Democratic Front Senator Nkeze Emilia told members of the Bilingualism Commission that elites and local administrators failed to handle the crisis when it was still time. Senator Nkeze Emilia castigated funds in the northwest region of Cameroon for abandoning their duties towards the people and giving priority to political benefits. Let's now hear her in the following excerpt. She was speaking to Mbo Stella.
The Social Democratic Front, where I am militant, looks beyond it as we stop our names. There was a clear corner, nobody should go for elections in the Northwest, but we knew that if we have to represent the transition period of this country, we took all the odds, we staked our names, and we are in the seat. We are not there to form the majority. We have not gone there to fight the government. We have gone there to work in synergy with people who we believe will have a straight and honest heart to visit the issues plaguing this country. If the Prime Minister was sitting up there today, I would have liked it. Because when this crisis began, it was a situation where the CEO would have talked to the people around. He did not. He rose up to the SDO's power. He could not. He went to the governor. He could not. Then the Prime Minister came. It would have made sense to me. A crisis begins. The rest of the strata is suppressed. The highest level of the government just surfaces. Now that it has no work, the only other person that has to come is the head of state.
Yes.
Because the phones are sitting there. I don't know if they had a phone call. I have never heard that a phone for Guzi Alice was my boss. I don't know if he ever called the Chopa people to his palace to say that this crisis, I don't like it should stop. For Guzi, have you ever done that? No. So what?
And the academic sector in Cameroon, hit by the unrest, especially in the two Anglophone regions of the country, has been one of the sectors where the message of living together is most preached as the crisis deepens. Nursery school pupils here in the economic capital Douala highlighted the need for Cameroonians to live together as one. It was during the end of year celebration that took place yesterday. Details in this report. The message of living together preached by nursery school kids at the time when the subject is animating debates in Cameroon. From this sketch, presented in English by pupils of the Seventh-day Adventist Primary School Makepe Maturité Douala, it is crystal clear that the Anglophone crisis is a major preoccupation to many. The teacher of the institution explains why preaching unity to the younger generation is pivotal.
Was living together, that no matter our diverse cultural backgrounds, we should accept one another as brothers and sisters. We should not say that since we are from the same village, you are in a village, you should only meet a brother from your village. If you come to Douala, you should associate with people in Douala. If you go to Bamenda, you associate with people in Bamenda peacefully without any problem. We should not discriminate. We should accept people as one because all of us, we are the creator of God, as the Bible rightfully said, that God created each and every one of us in His image.
The dozens of kids from this institution are graduating from kindergarten to primary level, and training the children has been a daunting task for the teachers and school officials.
Cela n'a pas été facile parce que, vous savez, à la maternelle par exemple, c'est le début.
As the kids go on summer holidays, parents were urged to assist the teachers in molding the educational capacity of the children.
Le message que nous donnons aux parents, c'est qu'ils ne baissent pas les bras, qu'ils ne laissent pas ses enfants errer dans la rue. Ils doivent montrer à ses enfants le vrai chemin.
11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
And on to something else, it was under tight security that the baccalaureate examinations took place in the far northern region of Cameroon. It is in a bid to avoid the Boko Haram threat, as innocent as it tells us in the following story.
It is under maximum security that candidates in the far north region of Cameroon, frequently hit by Boko Haram barbaric sect, write the baccalaureate general examination, which gradually folds up. According to a chief of center, the presence of heavily armed security forces has enabled candidates to write without fear. All he says moves on in absolute serenity. Amid the 384 registered candidates, 45 of them transport themselves daily from Limani and Kerewa to Kosa and Mora, where their accommodation centers are found. So because their establishment was destroyed 3 years ago by the jihadist sect Boko Haram. The school is yet to be renovated. It is, however, in a particular context that the baccalaureate general examination unfolded and wraps up in this troubled far north region of the country.
We stay with Innocent Aze to add that there was tension at the Dakar market in Madagascar, or the Madagascar market rather, in the Douala Free subdivision, where traders went on rampage after the coordinator of the said market instructed them to contribute the sum of 50,000 francs each to acquire electric meters to control their bills. The traders had to go on rampage as a result. Let's have the details in the following story.
They are traders of the Madagascar market in Douala Tourist Subdivision who have gone on rampage. They tell us that coordinators of the market have deprived them from electricity for a couple of days now for refusing to chip in an alleged sum of 75,000 francs CFA each for an electric meter. The business persons denied to comply, stating that they already have a new energy meters and will only deal directly with the electricity production and distribution company. They say the coordinators of the Madagascar markets told them they were acting on the instruction of the Douala City Council. Traders proud of having filed a complaint against the coordinators.
Nous allons saisir tout à l'heure le tribunal pour une citation directe à l'encontre du président de la coordination du marché Madagascar.
One of the coordinators speaking to Equinox says new officials intend to get rid of the cables that crisscross the markets, as the electricity production and distribution company is mostly treated by its consumers. He mentions that a central electric meter will be installed and each trader contributing 50,000 francs CFA to afford a compactable mini electric meter that will be controlled by the main one. Only those who pay for this sum will have the set individual meter installed in their shops with electricity. These special energy meters, according to the coordinators, cannot be manipulated by traders to reduce their units consumed. According to the market authorities, these meters are thus installed to enhance transparency in the Madagascar market.
An Africa's Growth and Opportunities Act, known as AGOA, is sensitizing small and medium-sized enterprises on how to export their homemade products for their own benefit. It was at the center of discussion in a meeting which took place in Bonanjo, here in the economic capital Douala today. Let's have the details with Franklin Mwabe.
Though Cameroon is Africa in miniature, it is also amongst the highly indebted poor countries of Africa. Hence, the coming of African Growth and Opportunities Act (AGOA) in Cameroon is to spur business investments in the small and medium-sized enterprises, increase efficiency in agriculture, improve trade, and eliminate poverty.
Private sector private on very important object that concerning access and benefit sharing, concerning what you say modify gente.
No, it's the beginning of the process. It is not in 1 day or 2 days. It will take time, you know.
The meeting to help and educate small and medium-sized experts and to sensitize them on how to export their products via the help of AGOA held today in the city of Douala. This act was seen into by the Minister of Environment, Nature Protection and Sustainable Development. According to report, 2008 and 2009 has been acknowledged as the years where trade between Cameroon and the United States had increased by 25%, with Cameroon exporting twice more than it imported from the United States. However, since 2009, the plan has inevitably been failing and has been ineffective due to the enormous procedure to benefit from the AGOA program. According to the PNUD representative, the AGOA program is a process of many years. The African Growth and Opportunities Act, AGOA, offers tax-free preferences for thousands of manufactured and processed products on the African continent. Amidst all this, Cameroonians and Cameroon in general stand to gain a lot in terms of export trade from the Africans Growth and Opportunities Act, AGOA, if and only if it lives up to its expectations and modalities, since it has been failing in previous years.
And the editor-in-chief of the Sun newspaper began his final journey to the world beyond That was today. Ella Geoffrey was removed from the mortuary of the Limbe Regional Hospital that is in the southwest region of Cameroon. Today, dozens of colleagues were present to pay him their last respect. He died on the 17th of May 2018. He is going to be ferried to Bangem, Kupe Maningoba division of the southwest region of the country. That's going to be early tomorrow for his burial. He is leaving behind 2 girls, a wife, and the entire media landscape in Cameroon to mourn him. His death has been described so far as a huge loss in the media landscape in the country. We, of course, will be coming back to that in a subsequent newscast. Now, the governor of the littoral region of the country has said that the projects that are going to be hosting the 2019 African Cup of Nations are advancing positively here in the littoral region of Cameroon. Governor Samuel Dodoneva-Dubois, who is president of the site commission here in the littoral region of the country, visited some sites ahead of the visit of the CAF inspection mission to the country. Simanjika Gabriel tells us the level of works realized so far in some of the stadia in the city of Douala. His report.
As Cameroon prepares for the Continental Football Jamboree in 2019, roads must be opened to enable access to the field. In the heart of a forest in Douala, heavy-duty machines are opening up a road of several kilometers. The road, upon its completion, will lead people from the Japoma Stadium right up to the Dibamba Bridge. The main objective is to open several access ways to the stadium to curb congestion on match days. This far, the rate at which the road construction has gone is 15%. From the road, next point of attraction was the stadium. The Japoma Sports Complex, expected to host a pool of the 2019 competition, is already visible, with the west and east tribunes almost done. With all the workers busy at different ends, they have in mind that the work is supposed to be handed by December 2018. A tour within the corridor of the construction site takes us to one of the dressing rooms. From a distance, the pitch is very visible. The governor of the littoral region, Samuel Dodoneva-Dubois, is a happy man.
We have, as far as the sports infrastructures are concerned, we have more than 50% of the rate of executions, and also for the state of our hospitals, all of them are doing well, and we can just say that the rate now is good and everybody is on task. So we are expecting to have those infrastructures before the G-date, and many of them have some difficulties that we are just solving progressively, and today we can say that we are quite ready. Apart from the Japoma Sports Complex, the governor also had time to visit the Douala Reunification Stadium, the Mbapelepe and Bonamusa the training pitch, alongside some hotel and hospital infrastructures ahead of CAF's inspection tour this month.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of the Primetime Newscast, or this first segment, rather, of this edition of the news. Up next is Talking Point. We shall be right back. Good evening to you once again, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you so much for joining us in this second segment of the news. We have been joined by a member of the Mother of the Nation, Mrs. Bergeline Domou. Good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Talking Point.
Good evening, Mimi. Today, I'm so happy to be here.
mostly this Friday in black.
Of course.
Yes.
We thank you for coming. Today, amongst members of the Mother of the Nation, is an initiative, of course, of the CPP political party. We equally have the Stand Up for Cameroon initiative. Yes. There is a particular mobilization of members of the Mother of the Nation in Cameroon and beyond. What is the peculiarity of today's mobilization? Because the Black Friday didn't start today.
Yes, of course, as you mentioned it, the Black Friday, Friday in Black, did not start today. And let me start first, Mimi, with an appeal. We were a lot, you were so many to be in black today, showing how you people, you Cameroonians, are concerned about the situation in your country. You wear black because you think about your country. You wear black because you think about the victims of the crisis on the crisis, with the ongoing crisis in Northwest. And you wear black because you care about how are we going as a Cameroonian. So you were many out of Cameroon, you were many in Cameroon, you were many everywhere. And we are happy for it. And we too, we are in black. Even you, Mimi, I don't know if it is black or not. But
it was not.
Yes.
It's just a coincidence.
Okay.
It's just a coincidence.
Yes, you must wear black next Friday, because as you say, it's an initiative. It did not start today. And I'm calling Cameroonian next Friday to be in black.
But I see that it's particular because you
it's particular.
Focused on the people in the 2 Anglophone regions of Cameroon.
Yes, as you see, the last information from Northwest is not really, information that we can just sit and look. It's a situation showing us how young men, young girls were killed in Menka, how Batibo inflicted again with violence, Muyuka, Munyenge, Kwakwa, everywhere, the regain of violence. So showing that there is no longer, government is not really bringing the solution that must be brought to the problem. And we, as an organization, Stand Up for Cameroon, with the initiative Mother of the Nation, we cannot just stand and say, okay, let's just watch. No, we just continue our job. So as the crisis is intensifying, as violence are increasing, we say, okay, let's go on more strong with our mobilization. And thanks that we are seeing that Cameroonian really, really are waiting and need a solution, because the way they wear black today,
they're gradually adhering to
it. Yes, and it shows that we are the third way that we really need in the country.
Now, you must have been motivated by your visit to these regions recently, especially in the Northwest region. You saw how the situation on the ground. What is your evaluation? What were you able to see on the ground for yourself?
Okay, Mimi, thank you to remind me about our last trip in Northwest. And I want to remind you and many others that it's not the first time we went on the field in the Northwest. We mostly on the field. We are mostly on the field every time.
Sure.
Before the crisis, when the crisis started, we were on the field. And every time we are on the field, because you cannot analyze, you cannot give a report, you cannot take a position without being on the field. So we were in Northwest. We went to Ewo, Batibo, Bello. We visit. And Mimi, what do we see? We saw displaced. We saw displaced Cameroonian who left her villages, who left her houses, who left her places to be another person's places, which is not good. And among these displaces, you have a lot of children. Most of them feet eaten by rats. You saw most of them with such diseases that nobody is taking care. That's why what we saw in Northwest. We saw children not going to school, most of the school. 90% of the school are closed in the Northwest.
Yes, we saw the facts and figures by the CPP political party was indicating that more than 2.5 million students and pupils have been affected.
All the area we went, classes were closed. And when you have a class that is functioning, it's functioning with army.
But when we see the GCE taking place, we have the impression that everything is going on normally.
That's the impression.
The common entrance examination.
That's the impression.
That is still ongoing.
That's the impression. How it's going? How that GCE looked like? You have the army controlling a GCE. Is it normal? Is it a normal situation for us children to sit and write for an exam with army around you? Was it used to be the situation? I don't think so. So we saw school in Northwest that are closed. About 19, I was 19% classes, school are closed. We saw a region economically down. I'm used to be, I'm a touristic guide, and if you know Bafoot, you have Bafoot on all the touristic papers, touristical guides, touristical posters.
Yeah, the
and
tourist sites.
Yes, tourist site. We have to, Bafoot used to have about 40,000 tourists per year. You can imagine when a tourist pay at least, this is the least a tourist can pay at Bafoot, 1,000
francs
CFA.
Of course.
Yes, just imagine how 40,000 tourists can bring to Bafoot.
But Northwest region in general, but it has dropped drastically.
Yes, last year, as the phone told us in Bafoot, Madam, I received 20.
This year,
yes,
this 2018.
20 visitors. So you can imagine the situation in the whole Northwest. So this is the region we women, Cameroonian women, Francophone women, we decide to go and visit other sisters who are in a bad situation, and these are the things we saw there.
From every indication, women and young girls are most affected. We saw how women were speaking with the Bilingualism Commission, talking about the plight of women, the plight of young girls and even young children that are women. How did you see the situation? How has it affected women so far?
As in every situation, when conflicts occur, when wars occur, the most affected people are always the women, are always children. They are the one who not easily will flee like men. As you say, even in Ewo where there are displaced people, we visit.
Most of them are women.
Most of them are women, because women, and when you see men, is elders. They are no longer young. So most of them are women because they just have to find a way how to go and be safe. Yes, and men have the opportunity to move away, to go far, and of course join the army, not the army, join the group.
The separatists.
The separatists. Yes, even I don't like the word separatist. Yes, because these separatists are Cameroonian who think that Cameroon needs more than what we have now. So they have the view of Cameroon, and they wanted to discuss that Cameroon with others Cameroonian, and our proposal, our answer to them was to push them to that extreme.
And they have the impression that since their plights are not being listened to, they prefer to stay away. That is their
yes, since you are not, every time that, as you are seeing this crisis, Mimi, there were a lot of opportunity to solve that problem.
To right the wrongs.
And at every opportunity, the government did not hold that opportunity. So it radicalized people. That's the case.
You have made me to understand that until you go to the ground, you'll not be able to understand the realities, the sufferings of the population, the women, the young children, and the mothers and the fathers. That is why the Bilingualism Commission has been visiting some of these regions lately. We saw the Peter Mafani Musonge-led commission meeting political actors, traditional rulers in Bamenda between yesterday and today. What do you think can come out from such a discussion between the commission that is aimed at resolving this crisis and the population of Bamenda?
It's a commission. We are used to commission in Cameroon. Lot of commission, we know results, we know facts, we know impact. So this, I can say, Musonge Commission is not the first commission we have in Cameroon. So saying that we are expecting something from that commission, Mimi, I will lie you if I say I'm waiting it. No. And you even see the size of the forum, because I will call it forum, going and meeting people in the hall, everybody is talking. At the end, which result you will gain?
They came to receive proposals to take to the President of the Republic.
Which proposal? You say something to take to the President of the Republic. Why? Because as a commission, why don't you be able to, to have to analyze, have your solution, and then go away?
Yes, Mrs. Bergeline Domou, are all hopes lost?
With this government, yes, but not with Cameroonians. And you see today with our Friday in Black, Cameroonians today wearing black, showing their concern of the situation, showing their concern that the moderate way, standing for Cameroon, is the only way we have to. And they are believing that political transition, which is the objective of Stand Up for Cameroon, is the only way, is the best way to bring out Cameroon for all these messes. Because you will not forget that out of North-West and South-West crisis, we have Far North crisis. We still have Boko Haram in the Far North. When it is about other region, we don't have light. You are here in Douala, for every minute you have light who went on, we don't have water. This is the situation all around the country. So out of the crisis, the conflict, the army, we have social condition that this Cameroonian cannot bring the solution. And we think that at the level of Stand Up for Cameroon, only political transition
is the solution. Thank you so much, Ms. Bergeline Domou, for joining us tonight on Talking Point. We hope to have you some other time again.
Of course,
thank you so much for your time too.
Thank you very much.
Our viewers, it was equally a pleasure having with us in this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. Wishing you a blessed day and a blessed weekend in the company of our programs. Good evening once again.
Mimi.